For some time, Senator, will you vigorously enforce the statute to cut off federal funding to school that does not provide military recruiters and a ROTC program?
Yes, I will. But I have to say, it's not enough to talk about the extraordinary service of men and women who are wearing the uniform and have worn the uniform of the United States of America. Tonight, across this country, 200,000 men and women who wore our uniform and served this country patriotically, veterans, will go to sleep under bridges and on grates. We have men and women coming back from Iraq with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, other kind of emotional problems, many with serious physical injuries. We have families who are here at home while they serve in Iraq, who are having a terrible time paying for child care, paying the bills. We have reservists and members of the Guard who go to serve and get paid 50, 60 cents on the dollar for what they were making in their civilian jobs. What are we going to do about this? Every man and woman who comes back from Iraq or Afghanistan deserves to have a thorough, comprehensive evaluation of their medical needs, including mental health needs and physical health needs. Every one of them ought to get job training if they need it and additional education if they need it. We, America, we should help them find a job. They didn't leave us on our own. We shouldn't leave them on their own. And we need to narrow this gap between civilian pay and military pay and help these families with their child care. And then finally, for all the veterans who have served this country, we need a guaranteed stream of funding for the Veterans Administration so we don't have veterans waiting 6 months or a year to get the health care that they deserve.
Let's go.
Tim, just one thing that I wanted to...
Go ahead, Senator Obama. 30 seconds each, Senator Obama and Clinton.
Very, very briefly, because I think this shows you how this administration has failed when it comes to our veterans. I went to Walter Reed to talk to the wounded warriors who had come back to discover that they were still paying for their meals and their phone calls while in Walter Reed, while rehabbing, which I could not believe. And I was able to gain the cooperation of a Republican-controlled Senate at the time and pass a bill that would eliminate that. But that indicates the callousness with which we are often treating our veterans. That has to stop.
Senator Clinton.
Well, I think that we have to do everything necessary to help these returning veterans get the health care and the support that they need. And this new signature wound called traumatic brain injury is something that I am really upset about because we've only begun to recognize it and diagnose it. And, John, I was able to pass legislation to begin to provide the physical and mental evaluation so that we could begin to treat this. And, we have 1,200 people in Nevada who sign up to join the military every year. They're now going to be getting these exams because we've got to track what happens to young men and women when they go into the military and then provide the services for them.
We have to, at this point, turn a bit more local, and let's talk for a moment about Yucca Mountain. As sure as there's somebody at a roulette table not far from here convinced that they're one bet away from winning it all back, every person who comes here running for president promises to end the notion of storing nuclear waste at Yucca Mountain. And the people of Nevada have found it's easier to promise to end it than it is to end it. Anyone willing to pledge here tonight, beginning with you, Senator Obama, to kill the notion of Yucca Mountain?
I will end the notion of Yucca Mountain because it has not been based on the sort of sound science that can assure the people in Nevada that they're going to be safe. And that, I think, was a mistake. Now, you hate to see billions of dollars having already been spent on a mistake, but what I don't want to do is spend additional billions of dollars and potentially create a situation that is not safe for the people of Nevada. So I've been clear from the start that Yucca, I think, was a misconceived project. We are going to have to figure out how are we storing nuclear waste. And what I want to do is to get the best experts around the table and make a determination. What are our options based on the best science available? And I think there's a solution that can be had that's good for the country, but also good for the people in Nevada.
30 seconds each, Senators Clinton and Edwards.
Well, I voted against Yucca Mountain in 2001. I have been consistently against Yucca Mountain. I held a hearing in the Environment Committee, the first that we've had in some time, looking at all the reasons why Yucca Mountain is not workable. The science does not support it. We do have to figure out what to do with nuclear waste. You know, Barack has one of his biggest supporters in terms of funding, the Exelon Corporation, which has spent millions of dollars trying to make Yucca Mountain the waste depository. John was in favor of it twice when he voted to override President Clinton's veto and then voted for it again. I have consistently and persistently been against Yucca Mountain, and I will make sure it does not come into effect when I'm president.
Your rebuttal to the mention.
Well, I think it's a testimony to my commitment and opposition to Yucca Mountain that despite the fact that my state has more nuclear power plants than any other state in the country, I've never supported Yucca Mountain. So I just want to make that clear.
Senator Edwards.
Well, I'm opposed to Yucca Mountain. I will end it for all the reasons that have already been discussed, because of the science that's been discovered, because of apparently some forgery of documents that's also been discovered, all of which has happened in recent years. But I want to go to one other subject on which the three of us differ, and that is the issue of nuclear power. I've heard Senator Obama say he's open to the possibility of additional nuclear power plants. Senator Clinton said in a debate earlier, standing beside me, that she was agnostic on the subject. I am not for it or agnostic. I am against building more nuclear power plants because I do not think we have a safe way to dispose of the waste. I think they're dangerous, they're great terrorist targets, and they're extraordinarily expensive. They are not, in my judgment, the way to green this, to get us off our dependence on oil.
Tim Russell.
Well, but John, you did vote for Yucca Mountain twice, and you didn't respond to that part of the question.
I did respond to it. I said the science has hit the science that has been revealed since that time, and the Ford's documents that have been revealed since that time have made it very. This has been for years, Hillary. This didn't start last year or 3 years ago. I've said this for years now. Have revealed that this thing does not make sense. It's not good for the people of Nevada, and it's not good for America. Which, by the way, is also why I am opposed to building more nuclear power plants.
I want to pick up on that. Senator Obama, a difference in this campaign. You voted for the energy bill in July of 2005. Senator Clinton voted against it. That energy bill was described by numerous publications, quote, the big winner, nuclear power. The Secretary of Energy said this would begin a nuclear renaissance. We haven't built a nuclear power plant in this country for 30 years. There are now 17 companies that are planning to build 29 plants based on many of the protections that were provided in that bill and incentives for licensee, construction, and operating costs. Did you realize when you were voting for that energy bill that it was going to create such a renaissance of nuclear power?
Well, the reason I voted for it was because it was the single largest investment in clean energy, solar, wind, biodiesel, that we had ever seen. And I think it is, we talked about this earlier, if we are going to deal with our dependence on foreign oil, then we're going to have to ramp up how we're producing energy here in the United States. Now, with respect to nuclear energy, what I have said is that if we could figure out a way to provide a cost-efficient, safe way to produce nuclear energy, and we knew how to store it effectively, then we should pursue it, because what we don't want is to produce more greenhouse gases. And I believe that climate change is one of the top priorities that the next president has to pursue. Now, if we cannot solve those problems, then absolutely, John, we shouldn't build more plants. But part of what I want to do is to create a menu of energy options, and let's see where the science and the technology and the entrepreneurship of the American people take us. That's why I want to set up a cap and trade system. We're going to cap greenhouse gases. We are going to say to every polluter that's sending greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, we're going to charge you $1 for every, we're going to charge you money for every unit of greenhouse gas that you send out there. That will create a market. It will generate billions of dollars that we can invest in clean technology. And if nuclear energy can't meet the rigors of the marketplace, if it's not efficient, if we don't solve those problems, then that's off the table. And I hope that we can find an energy mix that's going to deliver us from the kinds of problems that we have right now.
Senator Clinton.
Well, Tim, I think it's well accepted that the 2005 energy bill was the Dick Cheney lobbyist energy bill. It was written by lobbyists. It was championed by Dick Cheney. It wasn't just the green light that it gave to more nuclear power. It had enormous giveaways to the oil and gas industries. It was the wrong policy for America. It was so